Today I'd like to demonstrate how you can source control your interoperability productions in a decomposed format. So you'll see here, I have an interoperability production. This is a sample production that's pretty small, but your productions can get huge. They can have hundreds of items. This is because each namespace can only have one production, so it might have dozens or hundreds of interfaces, all in the same production. I'll show you how this is represented in source control using embedded Git with the default option. I'm going to launch the Git UI, open up my branch, and view the tree view for this one production. Each production is represented in Iris as a class. The production configuration is a giant Xdata block inside of this class. You can see it here. You could think of this format for productions as being like a giant container ship, one of the ones that can get rotated and block canals. Bad things can happen, but it's also pretty efficient, so there's a good reason it's usually represented this way. But say I want to represent it in a different format, with a different item for each item in the production. This can have multiple different benefits. It can reduce merge conflicts. It can also allow multiple people to edit the same production. So how am I going to do that? In embedded Git, I'm going to go to my settings page here. I'm going to check this flag called Decomposed Productions. If true, interoperability productions are source controlled under separate files for each configuration item. I'm going to save this setting, and I'll see in my workspace view, my settings file has been updated with the new value of the setting. Now that I have the setting saved, I want to re-export my production in the new format. So to do that, I'm going to go to my source control menu and select the export production item. This might take a minute. It'll take even longer if you have a very large production. And there are alternative ways to do this if your production is so large that the page is just going to time out. For now, I'm going to use this option and wait for it to finish. All right, it looks like this export has finished. I can click on the source control output to see what actually happened here. Here we have messages saying that we've exported each of the items in the production into a PTD file. And at the very bottom, we'll see that we've also deleted the class file from source control. I'll show you what this looks like in our workspace view in the source control UI. Now we have a PTD file for each of these items. Each of them has an XML representing the production item settings. There's also another file that's just the production settings for the entire production. And finally, you'll see a delete for the class format of the production. I'm going to check this in now. My commit message is going to be that I re-exported the production in decomposed format, so people after me know what happened. This might take a minute to commit since there are so many items, but once it's finished, you'll notice that the production in the configuration page looks exactly the same. Nothing has really changed as a developer, except that it's represented in a new way in your source control repository with all of the benefits that come from that. For example, I can edit one of these items, apply my changes, and I'll see that only those changes to that one item have been exported. All of the other items remain unchanged. So that's my demo on how easy it is to apply production decomposition with embedded Git to represent your productions in a new format.